of Roto Wire. I'm going to be going over the two Premier League matches on Thursday. We got Everton home against Newcastle, Tottenham home against West Ham. Mostly a look into DraftKings and DFS purposes. We'll look at the lineup. I won't be around for the second lineup, but we'll be around for the Everton Newcastle lineup. Give some ideas, give some thoughts on the slate in general. Here we go. All right, here we go. Welcome in. Adam Zdroik here to talk DraftKings. A little bit of DraftKings here. Rotowire.com/soccer trial. Please sign up. If you're not subscribed to RotoWire, check that out. That's a 48-hour trial. Also, check out our Discord. It's going to be popping. We got contests going. We also have in the RotoWire group on DraftKings, I believe there's a contest up right now. Probably almost full as I'm talking. But a couple things here. If you're watching this, I'm just stepping in for a short show. If you're watching this, maybe you don't bet at all, or maybe you don't know we have a betting show, but just go into RotoWire YouTube. So RotoWire Soccer YouTube. So go to youtube.com/@RotoWire Soccer. Go into our channel, click on tonight's betting show with me and Chris Owen, Kits and Wagers, and just give a thumbs up to that show before it goes live. If you want to watch it live, that's live tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be talking about a few games for game week 16. Also, obviously, if you're watching this, please give a thumbs up on this video. But let's get into it a little bit here. So the cheat sheet, rotowire.com/soccer trial. Here we go. Tottenham are the biggest favorite. They're home against West Ham, almost a 2 implied goal total. Newcastle are favored at Everton, but that one is a little lower. Implied goal total, probably about a 0.5 difference. So when I'm looking at this one, we got 8 minutes until lineup release for this Everton Newcastle match, and then in terms of the Tottenham West Ham, I don't think there's going to be too many changes, though. Postecoglou may do something a little different here. So again, rotowire.com/chat to get into our Discord. But my overall thoughts here on this slate is kind of lines up with the odds. There's probably going to be more goals in this Tottenham West Ham game. There's probably going to be fewer goals in this Everton Newcastle game. One stat, I'll bring up a stat for each of these games here. Everton have not allowed more than 11 shots in each of their last 5 home matches. If you're looking to play Jordan Pickford, I guess spoiler here, Jack Burkart's goalkeeper pick is Jordan Pickford. So if you want to fade him, there you go. But Pickford, as you can see, he's not making a ton of saves. It just seems like Everton aren't allowing a ton of shots. As I said, haven't allowed more than 11 shots in their last 5 home matches. Before that, home against Arsenal when they lost 1-0, they only allowed 13 shots in that game. So if you're thinking a 5-save game from Pickford, maybe a 1-0 win, you're hoping for that. If they don't get the clean sheet, then it's going to be a situation where you're probably screwed a little bit. Everton are more of a team where they're just going to unleash shots and they're not going to score. We saw that in their last home game against Manchester United. Maybe they outplayed Manchester United for certain aspects of that game. They didn't have the worldly goal from Garnacho. But they had a bunch of opportunities to score. They didn't score. They ended up losing 3-0. I think Manchester United finished with like 9 shots in that game. So it's about efficiency with those teams. West Ham away from home. Their last away match, they needed 2 late goals. I believe one was in stoppage time to win at Burnley. Before that, they gave up 3 goals at Brentford, 4 goals at Aston Villa, 3 goals at Liverpool. And then they were lucky to escape Luton Town with a 2-1 win. Should have been a red card in that one late. Sorry, not a red card. Should have been a PK in the box. That one should have been 2-2 probably. But either way, West Ham allowed goals away from home. Even they allow goals at home. Tottenham have been figuring things out without James Maddison. So I think there's going to be goals in that one. Tottenham match, we just saw them, the 3-3 game against Manchester City. We've seen them compete since that ugly game that they had at Wolverhampton. Maybe not ugly, but maybe unfortunate. They got the early goal from Brennan Johnson, and then Wolves got two stoppage time goals in that one. And I mean, for the most part, you look at some of these losses since James Maddison went down, since the suspension, they get Cristiano Romero back to their back line. So they actually have a real center back who hasn't been there. They've been playing Ben Davies and Emerson as center backs in their last 3 matches. So they've played okay. And I think just a return of an actual center back is going to help a little bit here. We'll see who actually lines up. Is Højbjerg going to get a start? I don't believe Pape Sarr is ready to return. Is Bryan Gil going to be back in the starting 11? That's the main questions for Tottenham as we have 5 minutes to go for Everton Newcastle. So if we look through DraftKings here, the one thing, of course, that stands out as we look at some of the goal odds, we have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, 5,300 plus 230 to score, just cheap as a cheap forward. So as you can see here, we can see his minutes, 77 minutes, 82 minutes, missed out over the weekend with the calf issue. He's been in training. I'm going to say he's not going to go over 80 minutes in this game. They have another game coming up over the weekend. He's not 100%. A guy who's had injury issues for the past 2-3 years. So we're looking at sub 80 minutes for Calvert-Lewin, possibly 60 minutes. I'm guessing about between 65 to 70. And then Beto's going to come in, depending how the game goes, kind of thing. Again, maybe he's not even going to start. We'll know 4 minutes from now if DCL is going to start. So he's 5,300. Jared Bowen is 6,900. Jared Bowen is the hammer time pick from Ryan Belongia, I'll say. And he just wanted to point out that Jared Bowen has been on a tear since Jack Burkart said he was unplayable a few months ago. Not my words. That's what Ryan wanted to say there. But also of note, Brennan Johnson. So he's at plus 150 to score. He is also fairly cheap. So this is a slate where almost everyone's cheap. This is almost like a play whoever you want slate. Trippier is 7,600, which is a pretty good price. Home against Manchester United, 7,700. Home against Chelsea, 9,700. Now at Everton, he's 7,600. So I think, okay, Trippier, cash, tournaments, however you want to play it, I think Trippier's a lock. He's the one defender who has the 30-point upside, has the 10-point floor, almost no matter how this game goes. It's not like Everton's. I mentioned the stat about them not allowing shots, but then Pedro Porro is another guy just at home against West Ham. West Ham aren't a team that possess the ball a ton. Annually, one of the bottom 5 in terms of possession in the league. And then we also have set pieces for Porro. So he's almost probably a lock as well. So you got Trippier and Porro in there at 5,800 and 7,600. So you're good there. So as I said, play whoever you want, slate. You can get up to Son. You can get up to Isak. You can get up to, it's not even getting up to Bowen because he's only 6,900. I do like Brendan Johnson in this spot at 6,300. Just too cheap right here for him. He should be 7,500. Dwight McNeil, I'm not sure how popular he'll be. Everton are underdogs. So, and then it was last slate where Dwight McNeil was 50%, I want to say, in a showdown against Nottingham Forest, maybe less. He went off. He got a goal, got the only goal in the game, 12 crosses, 28 points. It's a set piece situation for Everton where James Garner has one side, Dwight McNeil has the other. Some games it'll be James Garner, maybe he gets all the corners. Maybe another game, Dwight McNeil gets all the corners. There's a couple teams like that where you have some lopsided corners where it's not really someone is taking over all the corners. It's more about they're splitting corners, one on each side, and that's how the numbers kind of roll out there. But in cash games, I think McNeil is pretty safe to play. Home against Newcastle. Newcastle are a great team. They kind of dominated that match against Manchester United over the weekend, but they're a different team at home compared to away. Al is asking if DCL is starting. We're gonna find out in a minute here. Will you go over sub risks when lineups come out? Yes, Ozzy. I'll go over sub risks here. Let's all right. We got about 30 seconds here till the lineups come out. There we go. Sean Dyche has arrived. Jared Branthwaite has arrived. Newcastle are in the building. So we're getting closer here. The lineup should be out in mere seconds. So I don't think there's going to be too many changes here. And there are no changes. So here's Newcastle's lineup. We have everything's the same. They've ran out this same starting 11. I think their last 3 or 4 matches. That includes a trip to PSG. They just have no subs. They're kind of stretched thin. I shouldn't say they have no subs, but they're kind of stretched thin in terms of guys that Eddie Howe wants to use. Let me refresh one more time. We should have Calvert-Lewin confirmation. Calvert-Lewin is in the starting 11. So there we go. Also, I'm just using our Premier League Twitter list. If you want to do the same thing I'm doing right now, just go to RotoWire Soccer on Twitter. Obviously, follow our account, but also check out our Twitter list. I'd have all the teams up on this one. Everton and Newcastle, two teams that don't really rotate a ton, even with midweek games, and that's kind of the case here. As I'm looking, okay, we got Seamus Coleman. Actually, I spoke too soon. Seamus Coleman, I believe these are his first league minutes of the season. He's coming back from his injury since, when was that, May? Pretty bad injury. So he's been back about a month. He's been playing with the academy team. He's got a couple starts there. So Seamus Coleman, probably a guy who's only ready for 60, 70 minutes in the Premier League. These are his first minutes in the Premier League all season. So Seamus Coleman in for 60, 70 minutes. Ashley Young will probably come on for him. Otherwise, sorry. Ashley Young is starting. Okay. Who am I missing here? Corey, James Garner is not starting. Okay. Okay, let's try to figure this out here. So how are they lining up here? I guess is what we want to figure out. Smite is taking me. What is this? What do we got? 4-3-3. Is this a 4-3-3? 4-3, 4-2-3-1 even? Okay. This is maybe this is a 4-2-3-1. Decore has been playing pretty forward. Maybe we'll call it a 4-3-3. So Idrissa Gueye, Decore, Ashley Young in the midfield, and then we got McNeil and Harrison on the wings, and then Calvert-Lewin is in the number 9 role. So yeah, Ashley Young is there. I do think that it's either way. I still think Coleman will be subbed off early. Again, these are his first league minutes of the season. I assume it's going to be a situation where, okay, they put in whoever. I don't know if Patterson or Godfrey are going to come in, but maybe they put in Danjuma. Maybe they put in Beto with Calvert-Lewin. I just find it difficult that Seamus Coleman is going to go 90 here. They'll probably sub off Coleman, and then Ashley Young will move back to right back. That's my guess. Otherwise, again, I still have the same thoughts with Calvert-Lewin's minutes, probably 70-ish, 70, yeah. In range for 60 to 80, though. I'll guess around the 70-minute mark. Beto also coming off the bench. And Newcastle subs, again, they don't sub a ton. Anthony Gordon, he does have that questionable mark. He picked up a bit of a knock in the last game, but he's fine, of course. So maybe something pops up on a short week kind of thing. But overall, I don't think it was a massive injury for him. They got Lewis Hall on the bench. Again, it's just a bunch of backups here. Matt Ritchie is also an option. Emil Kraft, Dumat, just backup defenders kind of thing. They don't really rotate a ton. So it really depends on if one of these guys gets hurt for Newcastle, because they're kind of being forced to run into the ground. Isak coming back from his groin injury. Gordon dealing with an injury as well. So that's what we got for the lineups. Let me check out some questions here. All right. You like Son over 2.5 shots today? Yeah. I mentioned Son earlier. Good spot, home against West Ham. Technically, we look at it, he's not taking a ton of shots, but okay, at Manchester City, home against Aston Villa, at Wolverhampton, over 2.5 shots is a bigger number. We can see here that he was getting more shots when James Maddison was playing, so maybe a little worrying because he's kind of playing, maybe he's just not getting the ball as much in the same situations as when James Maddison was on. But I do think Tottenham are going to have a decent amount of possession, and I think Son's going to get some shots. So I take the over on the 2.5 shots. DCL, yes. Last spot in cash. Jack Harrison, Kulusevski. I would say Kulusevski. I just like the spot a little better. Jack Harrison, I think is, for me personally, he really disappointed in the last game. I think he got 0 points over at Fantrax. He will be in that winger role. He's gone a full 90 in the last 5, so minutes aren't a concern, but it is Newcastle. So just a tougher matchup. I would say just Kulusevski. He is kind of the creator. He won't have the crosses, but I think he's more likely to actually get on the score sheet here. Jack Harrison, last 4 games. He doesn't have a shot in 3 of the last 4 games. He doesn't have a chance created in 2 of the last 4 games. So I would say Kulusevski over Jack Harrison, Ashley Young, Wide, and McNeil or Harrison playing number 10. Yeah, that's coming from Jordan Paul. Yeah, we could see something where it is like a 4-2-3-1, depending if Decore is actually in that defensive midfield role, and then we get Jack Harrison playing centrally, Ashley Young on the right wing, and Dwight McNeil on the left wing. I mean, it's you can guess at it from what the graphic shows. I guess the graphic shows a 4-2-3-1. I'm just not positive that they're going to throw Decore in this defensive midfielder role, but I guess they don't have anyone else. So I guess Decore is just a versatile player. So I mean, he's just played in this more attacking role the majority of the season. So it could be, according to the graphic, it's either a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-2-1. So I don't know if that's going to change how you play in DFS, but maybe that moves you off of Harrison if he's more in a more central role. He's not going to be getting the same amount of crosses that he's been getting previously. So I guess you can go look at it like that. In terms of Ashley Young, how much does he cost? Ashley Young is 4,300 and a defender. So I mean, if you're strapped for money, there's another option in defender outside of Porro, outside of Trippier. Maybe you use him in utility if you're a big Ashley Young fan. I don't think he's a must, but at 4,300, you can fit him down there. Does McNeil take all the sets with no Garner? That's a good question. I believe Ashley Young will actually take some sets here. As we look, I don't actually know. This might be the first absence. Okay, so James Garner's hurt, so he's actually not even on the bench. I believe this is the first absence of the season for James Garner. Let me just click into this profile and confirm that. Okay, he didn't start against Arsenal, but that's actually not very reliable because they didn't have really many set pieces. So yeah, actually Young took a couple set pieces in that one. So I do think that Ashley Young and Dwight McNeil could be in set for a split a set piece situation. So that's another reason to play Ashley Young here for his 4,300. So that is definitely worth noting there. Probably it seems very likely that Young and McNeil will split, and Young will take James Garner's set pieces previously. Seamus Coleman. Okay, yeah. Ashley Young will probably take some. Yep. So that's what we got. Not many changes, but relevant enough change that we do have discussions about set pieces. So there's a situation right there. And we have, I'm not staying on for Tottenham West Ham lineup. So just looking at the Tottenham lineup, I'll say the questions will be: is Højbjerg going to start in the midfield or in the midfield with Basuma and Lo Celso, or is Brian Heel going to get another start? I don't think Richarlison's ready to start yet. But he did come off the bench in the last game. So Richarlison's probably going to be on the bench. I'd say if Brian Heel starts, I think he started and went only 45 minutes last game. If Brian Heel starts, he'll probably come off for Richarlison at some point. If Brennan Johnson, again, we'll see how they line up. Like if Brennan Johnson, if their lineup is like this with a 4-3-3, I think Brennan Johnson might be a sub risk for Richarlison. Just because, again, short week, going 90s every game. So it's something to keep an eye on. Depends how they line up. Depends if Brian Heel starts. Depends if Lo Celso starts. Depends what their midfield looks like. Those are the main questions with Tottenham. We'll see about Jared Bowen. He came back from his injury over the weekend. So I think he's fine overall. I believe, let's see how long he went over the weekend here. He went 90 minutes. I think he's fine. He missed a couple matches there after the break, but that would be the one question. Maybe Jared Bowen isn't ready to start twice per week kind of thing, but I think he's going to be good. Kudus has been awesome for him. Paqueta, of course. Souček has also been in great form, playing in a more floating, attacking midfield role kind of. And then I don't think there's going to be any changes. Zuma had his house broken into, so he should be back in the starting 11 for Konstantinos. And I think there shouldn't be any more surprises unless there's like a Ben Rama in there and then something changes where James Ward-Prowse isn't in this defensive midfield role. Though I don't really think that's going to be the case. We'll see. I mean, this is a pretty big spot. I don't think David Moyes is gonna be rotating a ton here. So if anyone has any more questions about the slate or what's going on, I'll run through. I'll just run through. I don't really talk too much about DFS, but if you have any questions about whoever or whatever minutes concerns, let me know and I'll try to answer them before I jump off here. But yeah, Anthony Gordon, is he the most expensive player on the slate? Yeah, 8,800. He's been awesome. Isak is 7,800. So if you think that Newcastle is just building off what their dominant win against Manchester United, you can take the Dubravka route. You can take the play Dubravka, play Trippier, play whoever. Fabian Schär. I mean, he's been pretty good taking a free kick or two as well, and then grab a goal scorer. No one's going to play Almiron. Let's see what Almiron's price is. No one's going to play Almiron on this slate. 6,500 for Almiron. No one's going to play him. Actually, probably removes my consideration for Decore if he's in a more defensive role. So he's out of the player pool for me, I'd say. Though that said, I do think one thing I didn't mention is I think you can play whoever you want because the midfield there's a lot of cheap midfielders who have decent floors. Like I think I played Idrissa Gueye in the last slate. Was that Nottingham Forest game? Even Manchester United, where Idrissa Gueye is 9.5 floor against Manchester United, 7.5 against Nottingham Forest. He's got 5 shots in those last 2 games, a couple crosses as well. Maybe the formation changes that, but I do think guys like that, Basuma, 3,700. He hasn't had a great forward the last couple matches, but he's been a guy who will get forward, take a random 30-yard shot from nothing kind of a thing. Will draw fouls as well. So I do think you can kind of play whoever you want, however you think these games going to go. If you jumped in the middle of the show, I gave my thoughts on kind of how I think it's going to be under in this Everton Newcastle match. I think it's going to be over in the Tottenham West Ham match. So you can take that with however you want. But there's these cheap midfielders that you can just plug in here if you don't want to spend up for. I mean, Kudus is here. Kudus is even expensive at 7,300. Bowen's not expensive. None of these guys are expensive. Elmer on 6,500. I mentioned him. Joelinton has been. I don't like him as much from his midfield role, but he's been good. I think he also I think he got a pretty decent floor against PSG, if I remember correctly. Actually, no, it must have been that Manchester United match. He had 14 floor points against Manchester United. It was usually a thing where when Joelinton playing that midfield role, I kind of faded him, but 6,200, not the worst spot for him. Pocky to 5,300, just another cheap player. Souček, as I said, in form, 5,100. There's so many cheap options here, so many cheap goals you can get. Bruno Guimaraes is always in play for a goal, though he doesn't have, I don't think he scored once this season. That was against Sheffield United. But his floor has been good. He's been getting shots. He's been doing a little bit of everything, which is kind of what he does in the midfield. So there's just all these cheap options. Lewis Miley is 3,500. All these Newcastle guys all have solid floors as well. So there's so many options where if you need to save money, just go with the sub 5K midfielder and hope he gets 8 to 10 floor points, which has been happening for a lot of guys. And then play the Trippiers, play the Poros. Those guys are going to be popular. Maybe move off of them. If you think something weird is going to happen, move off one of those guys. I probably won't. It just seems like a great spot for Poro and Trippier, not only to have upside, but both to have 10-plus point floors. And then goalkeeper, as I said, Jack Burkart's goalkeeper is Pickford, though I'm a little worried about just in terms of him making saves because they aren't allowing a ton of shots. Dubravka is only 500 more expensive, so if you have the money, I would look to Dubravka. Vicario, not as certain on Vicario because, again, West Ham are a heavy counter-attacking team. They don't play with possession, so the saves haven't exactly been there or won't be there against West Ham. So, though you could play for the winning clean sheet for Vicario. All right, here are a couple questions here. Kudus or Paqueta? I think Kudus is going to be more popular. So, if you're playing in the big GPP, I would say go Paqueta. But I guess Paqueta's price is cheap, so maybe he's going to be more popular than I think. Overall, I mean, just comparing him, Paqueta will be less popular. So if you want to take that route, play him, but he is cheaper at 5,300. Kudus has been awesome. I think if you're just comparing those two guys, I would just say Kudus, not even looking at, rostership or that stuff. 2 goals, an assist, last 4 matches. I believe he's also in Europa League, 4 shots against Crystal Palace, some heavy shot games. He's going to be active in this one. 90s, pretty much going 90. He's been awesome for him. Clearly, David Moyes likes him better than someone like Ben Rama, kind of a thing. So, short week again with all these guys. It's a short week, so the full 90s aren't guaranteed like they have been. But because he's been so good, I think Kudus is maybe more likely than I don't know who would be subbed out here for West Ham. It's hard to say because Moyes doesn't really rotate a ton in league play. Isak, hat trick coming. Yeah, I played Isak on that last slate, and Gordon was the guy who went off. So maybe it's Isak's time to go off. Isak always in range for the goal. He got the goal against PSG, scored against Chelsea, got the brace against West Ham. So always in play for some big performances. And if Anthony Gordon isn't 100%, so you also have that in there. Maybe Gordon's more likely to be subbed off early. Yeah, here we go. Seamus Coleman, it is his first appearance of the season. James Garner is sick. So it's too bad. A sickness bug. Never like that for the midweek matches. I think Paqueta, according to Ali here, Paqueta takes PK, but yeah, Kudus in better form. Yeah, I believe that is the case. Paqueta probably on PK. So if you want to play for that and he's 2K cheaper, maybe you can spend that money on Son or someone on Tottenham kind of thing. That would be what's going on there. But again, you can see, I think, Paqueta's had 2 Premier League goals this season. One's been a PK. But all right, I think that's all I got here. Thanks everyone for watching again. Okay, we got up to 50 live viewers on this one. For shouts to everyone for jumping in, watching this show. Again, please follow RotoWire Soccer on Twitter. Also, give a thumbs up to this YouTube video. Give a thumbs up to the betting show as well. That's tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can find that on our YouTube page. But even if you watch, don't watch, don't bet, please just give a thumbs up on that. rotowire.com/soccertry. You can get this cheat sheet. We got a Liga MX semifinal tonight. We got that Showdown cheat sheet as well. There probably will be a RotoWire contest for that. And we got all the Showdown stuff here. I didn't mention Showdown. I will say, go for a goal scorer with Tottenham. I think both teams are going to score in this one. So go for a goal scorer. Maybe someone who's not as popular as Son. Son will be pretty popular. Maybe go with a random. Maybe Basuma gets a goal. Maybe Porro gets a goal or something like that. Maybe Brennan Johnson, Kulishevsky, something like that. Go with one of those goal scorers, I think, for captain, and then build and then find more goal scorers. I actually haven't looked at the Showdown pricing yet, but find random goal scorers because I think there's going to be goals here. And I'd say Tottenham probably score at least 2 goals in the spot. So there you go. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Again, we'll have the betting show tonight, Kits and Waiters, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll have our usual DFS show at 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday for Saturday slate. I haven't even looked at Saturday slate yet, but we'll have something. I assume there's going to be a slate, at least a 3-gamer. But thanks for watching. Find us in the Discord, RotoWire. Once you're subscribed, rotowire.com/chat to get into our Discord. Thank you, everyone. Good luck on the slate, and we'll see everyone tonight or tomorrow.